First rule I want to talk a look about today is batter interference, and that takes place on Rule 512 on page 40. So with your rule book that you have, please go to that one. Page 40. And it's at the bottom left, Article 2. It says, it is a here, I can put it here. It is a delayed dead ball when A, there is interference by the batter. And it talks about the exception, and we'll get to that here in a second. But it says, when the batter interferes with the catcher attempting to play on a runner, if an out does not result at the end of the catcher's throw, the ball shall become dead immediately. So, twofold here. First of all, it says it is a delayed dead ball when there is interference by a batter. Okay, so we're not going to kill it right away. If the batter interferes and the out does not happen, then we're going to kill it right then and there. So that's where the dead ball happens. If the immediate throw does retire the runner, then we're going to play on with one exception. Then let's go over to Rule 7, because that's where the second half of this rule picks up. Rule 735, page 47. And this is in a section titled Batting Infractions. If you go back, look back a page under Section 3, that's where you get that batting infractions. A batter shall not, Article 5, interfere with the catcher's fielding or throwing by, and it's got a handful of things. A, leaning over home plate. B, stepping out of the batter's box. C, making any other movement, including follow-through interference, which hinders actions at home plate or the catcher's attempt to play on a runner. Or D, failing to make a reasonable effort to vacate a congested area when there is a throw at home plate and there is time for the batter to move away. So when we think about these things, I hopefully you can envision different scenarios where we can have these things happen. And we've got lots of videos to follow here to help bring this home. But leaning over home plate. So if you're batting and the catcher's trying to throw to second base and you lean your entire torso over the home plate, you know, that could be something. Stepping out of the box. We could step over home plate, on home plate. We could step outside the batter's box, the other side. C, I think, gives us even more leeway that we could potentially maybe not even have to worry about where the batter's box is, but making any other movement which hinders actions at home plate or the catcher's attempt to play on a runner. If you look at the batter's movement, you're like, yep, he is interfering with the catch, and then that's where we have some wiggle room. And the last one, failing to make a reasonable effort to vacate. This is like a pass ball and a steal of home, or a straight steal of home. Again, a straight steal of home, he probably wouldn't have time to move out of the way, but a pass ball where the throw is coming in, I'm giving a little foreshadowing there. So what's the penalty on this? Those penalties right down below it. And so I'm outlining it a little differently than the rule book states it. So when we have batter's interference, you're going to call it, that's interference. And then if there's two outs in the inning, this is real easy. The batter is out. In every situation, if there's two outs, the batter is going to be out, period, no matter what. He interfered, he's going to be out with two outs. Now things get a little different. If there's not two outs, so that means there's no outs or one out. If R3 is stealing home, so we got a steal of home. In that scenario, if R3 is tagged out, we're going to ignore the interference, just like what it said when we were talking about the delayed dead ball. If the play at the plate and the batter interferes and R3 is out, we're going to ignore everything. The out stands and the batter still stays at the plate. However, if R3 is not put out, then the ball is going to be dead and R3 is called out. All other runners return to base at time of pitch. That's an important designation, time of pitch, okay? So no outs or one out, and runner at third is stealing on the pitch. If the runner is out, he's out, interference ignored. If he's not out, then we're going to call R3 out for the interference, batter stays in the box, and runners return to time of pitch. Next, when an attempt to put out a runner at any other base in any other situation is unsuccessful, the batter is out and runners return to base at time of pitch. Okay, so that is like a steal of second. That's a steal of third. That potentially could be a pickoff play if we have a situation like that. And then the last one is if it's strike three on the batter and he interferes. So after he is struck out and he interferes, if in your judgment there could be a second out being made, then, well, guess what? We can get a second out here. You would call the runner out. So this is the penalty as it's outlined here. And I think this rule is just one of these that's best to be described by some videos. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of these videos. So here we go in this scenario. We got a runner at first base. We have 0 outs thanks to the game-changing scoreboard. And let's take a look. Nicely done by our plate umpire here. And I want to point out a couple of things for this. We have a swing, and obviously the batter is stepping out over home plate. He's out of the box. We've got batter interference on lots of things. So he is now pointing to the interference. This actually happens to be strike 3, it looks like. And so we have a delayed dead ball, and we're going to call him out as well. So that's what Jacob said. So we actually got 2 outs on this scenario for the batter interference. I think that one's pretty clear. Let's take a look at this one. This one's a little bit less obvious, but let's see what else happens in this one. Again, batter step. You can see him right here. He's out of the batter's box. And it's blocked, but he's stepping on the plate because I was actually working the field. And I remember this, and I was like, man, this is going to be interference right off the bat. And then the throw is wild. I mean, immediately the throw is wild. Now, the plate umpire, according to high school rules, we need to have a delayed dead ball on this. Let this play out just a little bit longer. But we know that this is going to be batter interference. We know that that throw has no chance of retiring the runner because it's such a wild throw. It goes to the outfield. And in this case, he's going to point to the batter. He's going to call him out and then point to the runner and move him back to first base. As a base umpire, please go ahead and be a good help with this. You know the call is batter interference. You know that runner is going to be returning to first base, so you can also tell him, hey, you're returning to first base as well. Okay, so delayed dead ball. Let's see what else we got. Here's another one. Let's take a look.
And the righty deals breaking ball high. Baker goes for third. He's in there sliding.
He's in the foul!
Come on out. There's no way.
I like this play because you can tell that there's been some intensity to this game. If you can see the score is 1-1. You didn't know. I think both of these teams were ranked at the time. We have 2 outs, runners scoring. Take a look at where the batter starts in the box. The throw is being made, and look, he's moving, and he is moving right with the catcher. This is where you could say he stepped out of the box, but I also think this would be part of that letter C that says making any other movement which hinders the action of the home plate, because he is definitely back, and the catcher's having to move to avoid the batter as well. So good job on waiting for this one to come out. Calling time. We have 2 outs, so the batter's going to be out no matter what. Take a look at another one. Here's there's 2 pitches to see on this one. And the first one, I want you to look where the batter is starting in his stance right now, and then watch what he does after this first pitch.
Oh, it's out.
Okay, so his natural movement right there is, look, his left foot's out of the box, and he is in that back corner right there. So if you're umpiring in this scenario, and kind of like as I was thinking, I was like, man, if he does this every pitch, which he actually did do this every pitch, that we could potentially have something happen here. Let's see what happens. That's out.
Ball's out. That's interference. That's interference. That's interference. Time. We have batter's interference. Batter's out.
So in this scenario too, we also had 2 outs in the inning. So no matter what, it's going to be batter's out as if the throw doesn't actually, no matter what, 2 outs, the batter's out, going to be out for interference. I want you to show. The reason I call this interference in just a second. Let me see if I can find it here. Is, and from this camera angle, it's hard to see, but as the catcher is backing up, that plant foot, he has to stumble on it, and then there's contact in his leg, and then the catcher has to fall backwards. Do you see him awkwardly coming backwards? So the movement by the batter going backwards and into him is the reason that I called this. Did he duck out of the way? Yes. If he simply just stood there and ducked, I probably would let this one go and not call interference. but the fact that their legs have contact there and the catcher is being forced to adjust his throw on the fly because the batter moved, this is why we have interference there. Okay,
I got a question.
Yeah.
So I had a play like that, but it was ball 4, so the batter steps out and throws his bat to the dugout. Would that be interference as well?
In order to have interference in that scenario, the batter would have to do something completely intentional. If he is just simply taking his base by ball 4, then no, you're not going to penalize the batter there because he's, taking his base and that. But if he does something intentional, completely out of the norm, then yes, you could have that one. I got one more interference call, I do believe. Let's see.
Oh, it's out. That's out.
Actually, I think that's the same play. Oh, this is the one I was talking about. Okay, so here we go. Here's one more interference call for us to take a look at. This was on Saturday morning. It was cold and rainy, and you can hear in my voice, it was not the most exciting things going on. So here we go.
Ball down. Time. That's interference. He's out of the box.
So let's watch this one more time. Again, I was not very thrilled. So the batter is stepping out and moving completely backwards, and then he gets drilled in the head. Let's listen to it one more time because you can hear the oof by everybody. Listen to it one more time.
Ball down. Time. That's interference. He's out of the box.
One more time.
Ball down. Time. That's interference. He's out of the box.
Here's the one that I think I got wrong, and I want to see if we can all maybe talk about this for a little bit, but take a look. So we have the bases loaded with a batter in the box, and this is at Live Oak. So remember, their backstop is a little bit close, actually a lot of bit close. So let's see what happens. Let's watch it again. Before we talk about it, let's watch it one more time. So let me walk you through what I was thinking first of all, just so you can kind of understand the thought process and then where can we go from here. Okay, so we have the pitch. We have a swing. First of all, you have to rule on the swing. So we're going to point for the swing. So right here, I see the batter taking 2 hard steps in what I think is up the first base line to get out of the way. And so mentally, I'm like, oh, awesome. And then I turn my head to see where the baseball is. I see that the catcher has already caught it, and I am kind of cornered. I can't really move anywhere else. I have to be able to just kind of stay where I'm at. So I'm looking at the catcher, reading where the throw's coming. And then now I'm looking up, and now all of a sudden I see number 24, the batter, standing right smack dab in the middle of the plate. I have the runner sliding in, and there's no baseball yet. And so my thought is, wow, the catcher had no play on the runner, so I don't have anything because there's no play on the runner. But as I'm watching this back on film again, now the baseball comes into view, the catcher was not able to make a throw because the batter was in the way. And there's actually a rule for this. Let me see if I can freeze it right here in this thing. This is, again, the same spot that we were, letter D, that we were talking about, failing to make a reasonable effort to vacate a congested area when there is a throw to home plate and there is time for the batter to move away. This definitely is a congested area. We have a pitcher coming to make a play. We have a runner sliding in. And so after looking at this and kind of thinking through, I think I should have had batter interference on this play. In this scenario, we would have R3 is stealing on the pitch. So you would call time. There was less than 2 outs, so R3 would be out. The batter would stay in the box with a strike added to the count, and then R1 would go back to first base, and R2 would go back to second base. So we would resume the next pitch with runners at first and second, and an additional out for R3 being out, and the same batter in the box. And again, just looking at it here as this play unfolded, I saw him take 2 hard steps to go out. And so I'm like, great, he's out of the way. Mentally, I had that checkbox, like, okay, boom, we've moved on. But as I turned back and I'm like, oh, wait, no, he's still there. So, again, watching this play, I do think I should have had interference on this. The home fans definitely let me know that I should have had interference on this play. And yeah, and that's okay. It's all right to miss some calls, but we're going to learn from this, and this is the first time I think I've ever had this kind of batter's interference where he doesn't vacate the plate and everything. So, some really fun videos on this. Hopefully, we're a little more secure on this. Let's see what else we got for the day.